Alrighty, welcome, welcome. We are here in another think tank. Oh wait, okay, yeah, it's showing my screen. Okay, perfect. We are here with another think tank for the Raw DAO. We are officially a DAO. I mean, we are still the Raw realm, but we are the Raw DAO. It's official. We have a governance token. So we are all about everybody putting in the work, receiving incentives, and being rewarded for the work that they are putting in. So super excited to dive into what that even means, how we're going to be operating as a DAO, and that's exactly where I want to get started with how this DAO is going to be operating. So I think all of you have already joined the brain. If you haven't, the brain is pinned in our update section. So you want to go there and request to have access to that. This is something that we are going to continue to use to add resources there. Let me actually share my screen so that I can be showing you guys all of this as we talk. Okay, perfect. So I'm showing my screen. Okay, everybody can see my screen, hear me fine. Everything's good.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty. So when you get to the brain, as you guys can see, we have it separated by a few of the things that are going to be our main resources here. And all of us have access to it, so we can all add any folders, organize it any way. Zay's been doing a really great job at adding things as people post it. So we have our creatives, moderators, strategists, educators, and engineers. You guys know these are our 5 core team or roles that you can have in here. And then we also have our governance, resources, as well as Raw Magazine and Raw Workshops. And again, this is somewhere where we're going to be able to continue to add things that we need. Some of the things I want to talk about with getting started. So if you open our resource folder here, then we will see that here Tiny added a few of these really great resources. Sorry, my computer is so slow. But these are some really great resources. For example, how to buy Mona. Now, before we started recording, that was one of the things we were talking about is how, you know, finding our buyers when we're putting out these NFTs is important. Making the creation is half the battle, but selling it is the other half. Just like that saying goes, it's not the best author, it's the best selling author. So something that we, focus on here in the Raw realm is making sure we educate on all sides of the spectrum, right? To make sure that we're all well-rounded and understand, rather than selling hopes and dreams and kind of, leaving people with false expectations. So with that being said, the best way that we can do that is by creating content that educates about what we're doing and everything that comes a part of it. So one of the things I know that always throws people in a loop is Mona, because we're not using Ethereum like most people are used to using when buying their NFTs. So Tiny was able to create a very easy to read how to buy Mona, and then also how to buy the digital fashion after you buy Mona, so that we can share those on social medias. So these are things that you guys can come into anytime and click through it and share it on social media. And then here she also kind of actually wrote out more of an in-depth walkthrough that you can read anytime. And then also we have resources here. So we have for businesses, for beginners, and our DAO resources. Now this is important because, again, as we're building out these resources, we want to be organizing it so that we can continue to share it. For people that are joining, they know exactly where to go to find certain things. So when we have anything that will be easy for businesses that are coming to go from physical to digital, this is where we're going to be adding it. Now, whether we find it or we create it ourselves, again, this is going to be where we're going to be adding that with the conscious mind saying, hey, we're creating content to help beginners and businesses come and go from physical to digital. So these are some of the photos that you will use to add that. Next that we're really going to be focusing on today is our DAO resources. So this is something that I've been adding to recently. which is here our onboarding form. Now, this is something I would like everybody to fill out. I have onboarded. Let me see. Let me pull up another form as well, actually. So let me take it back a step before we get to there and actually talk about our governance token. So let me see, where did I add it? Oh, governance, duh. Okay, so under our governance folder here, you will see the first folder I added is actually going to be like a very good outline for what we have going on. This is something that we've put together. As you guys know, our last few meetings have actually been right here in the Raw Think Tank because everybody's been sharing their ideas for how they wanted these groups set up and what they wanted to see in each one doing. We had a lot of great ideas, such as each group should be meeting once a week separately. So that is something that I want to put out there as well. As you guys can see under the governance chat on Discord, each role has their own Discord like little channel now, and I want you guys to come together to find out a day and a time that would work in order to host a weekly meeting, same time, same day, so that everybody can come together, talk about the task for that week, as well as introduce new members. Because one of the things that we decided as well when it came to onboarding was making it a two-step process. So the first step will be people filling out that Google form, which is just them telling us about themselves and what they have going on. And then the second step will actually be adding an onboarding role to them, which puts them in a chat with all of us so that we can get to know them and then cipher them through which group they actually will want to go through. So here you guys see we have our educators, engineers, strategists, moderators, creatives, and so these are going to be the different things that you all can do, or all of us are going to be doing this as well to earn my own governance tokens. But these are the things that we'll be able to do each week in order to earn governance tokens. As well as you guys can see, something I tried to do to keep it consistent so that it was an equal opportunity for everyone to contribute was each role has something that they can earn 20 build tokens. Each one has then 15, 2 10s, and then 3 5s. So I created this again so that everyone has an equal opportunity. The general is a little more. Like, for example, when you join a Glow team officially, that will give you 50 build tokens. And then also when you collaborate, those are like a big one. That's another big thing you can do. So like say Tiny and Sergio, they just collaborated. So that would earn, both of them 25 build tokens, because that's how we can help to incentivize people to contribute and can continue to collaborate with others. And this is also a way that we can help start bridging other initiatives. For example, Indica Trades, that's someone that I've done a collaboration with her realm. So again, that's how come she's now received some build tokens. And I have another collaboration coming up with the malfunction realm. And again, that's understanding being able to add that utility behind those collaborations is again what's going to put us ahead of this curve when it comes to NFTs and utilities. A lot of people don't understand that, but again, us having this governance token allows for so many other opportunities. So for example, when you earn your governance tokens, we're going to now have proposals that we'll be able to propose and all of us can vote for, especially as our treasury builds out. We can all propose how we would like to see those funds spent. We can propose ideas that we would like to see the raw realm do. If you see other projects happening and you think we should all put in, some effort to do something, you can propose it, on that, which will probably be Snapshot. But I haven't gotten that set up just yet. But again, this is just some ideas to show you how this governance token will be able to be used. We can also use it in different ways, such as you guys seen for the Realm Runways. They had $200 tickets. Now you could use that by having 200 W3F tokens, which is their governance tokens, or 200 actual dollars. So understanding that we're going to continue to have seasonal workshops and balls and award shows and different things like that, this is again a way to incentivize people to say, hey, once you hit a certain amount of governance tokens, then that enables other things. Especially we'll have unlockables on our website that we're going to be building that we'll talk about later in this call. But again, having this governance token and having people understand that this is going to be the thing that unlocks more of our ecosystem is such a powerful tool. So creating different ways for people to actually earn it was the goal here. So I tried to again hit something for everyone, even our collectors, right? So when people actually collect from any of us, not just me, but any of us, then they can receive 25 build tokens. I also started the designers club that they'll gain access to with that 25 build tokens. And, maybe they get 50 build tokens, then they can get in a create with me session that we've kind of talked about before, where all of us can come together and kind of, create whatever we're creating, whether CJ's crocheting and Tiny's doing resin and I'm tie-dyeing and people are on their 3D laptops, creating these different environments though and opportunities that people can actually utilize these tokens and have access to different things is the idea. So that's going to be powerful. And again, we can all propose different ideas that we would like to see this governance token have utility for. But the main thing will again be voting on those proposals and access to those behind the scene things. So I'm not going to read through each one because I've shared them all plenty, but you guys can definitely come through here and check it out when you can. So the next thing I definitely want to hit on is how we will actually be submitting this. So each week, everybody will have to fill out one of these forms here, which is our weekly tracker. So I have one for each of them, as you see, creative. Then we have one for our engineers. We have one for our educators, our moderators, and our strategists. So oh, you're going to have a heart attack on me? Okay, perfect. So strategist. Okay, so the thing that we're going to be doing with this, and this is a very easy way, you guys know, like I said, I like to simplify things, especially the learning process. Because I came from the Global Designer Network DAO and we're still a branch off of that, I've been around there for quite some time now, and I've seen a lot of things that do work and don't work. And sometimes when we overcomplicate things, that's where you start to lose people. So by making it as simple as I can and also showing everybody how this works, I felt was the best way to get it started. But eventually we will be able to have a bot that you can just send, that you want to submit, that you did one of these tasks, and then you would just fill it in through the bot. But before we get there, we're going to take our baby steps to show everybody the way that this actually works behind the scenes. So the way you would do this is by copying this tracker, which you just click this little corner here, and it will copy your whole sheet. So if you a strategist and you did some things, maybe you hosted a Twitter Spaces. I know Tiny says she wants to kind of host a chill and chill type of Twitter Spaces. That would be great. So say she does that, then she would put in the date she did it. She hosted Twitter Spaces, and that will be it for this one. Now I have multiple here because of course you can do it multiple times. And I only have 5 days listed because I want people to have a work-life balance. I don't want people to feel like they have to come and do something every single day. But if you do, just add the date here, add the description, and you can keep it going as long as you like. That's perfectly fine. But again, to try to encourage that balance, I only wanted to add 5 here. And then you would just do that for every single one, everything that you did here. One thing I did as well at the bottom of each one, as you guys seen, was I added the general section because of course you can have what you did for your Glow team as well as something that was in general. Maybe you minted a pattern using the or actually that's not a good example, sorry. Maybe you attended an event, right? Because we always have events going on. So you can put here each event that you attended. This is that section that you would add that in right here. Maybe you invited somebody. One thing that we're going to do, you're going to get 5 build tokens for every person that you invite to the server. So, again, list here those people that you invited to the server. And also one thing that I did as well when it comes to this that you guys will be doing after you put in here, it's the allocation requested box. So this is where you're going to put how many tokens that you think you're supposed to be receiving based off of how many you're supposed to get and how many things that you did. So say again, for example, maybe you hosted 2 spaces. Maybe you hosted a shill and chill on Twitter and a shill and chill on Clubhouse, because again, we're trying to find out how we can get on many different platforms. So maybe you hosted 2 different two different spaces on 2 different platforms. So you would, put here that on February 20th, you did it on Twitter Spaces. On here on February 22nd, you did it on Clubhouse. So that's going to make you think, okay, you get 40 build tokens. So you would just put 40 build here. And then that way it makes it very easy to understand how many you think you're supposed to get, and then for me to just add it in. So the way that's going to look when it's added in is here under our distribution. Now, one thing on why I said you will have to actually copy these and not add it in here is because nobody other than myself actually has the ability to edit this. Now, I did that again because I don't want people coming in and changing this information here. Once it's allocated, I do have a smart contract that I have dropped them all off on already, but this is the tracker. And I've heard horror stories before on how different engineers or different people can come into the community and kind of hold your information hostage or delete everything or just start to mess with the things that you've built. So in order to protect things like this, such as our foundation, when it comes to the allocation, the distribution, I have this here. I also have another spreadsheet that I kind of keep, again, personal, that I have been keeping everyone's wallet addresses, because that's how I obviously continue to do these airdrops and distributing the governance token. But again, that one is just more so I've airdropped the token of appreciation, I've airdropped the birthday pope, I've airdropped this week's governance and how many is there, so that I can use that as, again, a cross-reference for here and having everything in one place. But here we can see so far, these are the members that have actually been airdropped some of the build tokens so far. So it's very exciting to see which members have put in the work. I did start everybody out at an even 100 build tokens, with the idea that everybody should be in 2 glow teams basically. And as you guys seen, once you join one glow team, you get 50 build tokens. I didn't want to start anybody, at a crazy amount, because I think we've all put in an equivalent amount of work when it comes to getting us to this point. We've all put in a lot of work to make the Realm Runways a great experience, to build out the Discord, to show a social media presence. So starting out this week, all of the designers and people that have been a part of our community have been awarded 100 build. You see Jazzy and Merv only have 0 because I'm waiting on their wallet addresses. Merv actually did just send me hers, so I need to drop hers as well, but I need their wallet addresses, so it's showing 0. And then here you see 25 because these are the collectors that I have had so far. So again, once you guys have collectors, then they'll be added here as well, and they'll receive 25 build as well. And that, again, should help incentivize them to want to come and continue to participate in our ecosystem to continue to earn those build tokens. One other person here that you guys will see is elbow.eth, who you guys know makes our popes for the Twitter spaces each week, which I think is, again, just something that's really great. They also boosted our server, really believe in the mission. So that's someone who I've added as a strategist. Now, one thing I did do is I've added kind of everybody where they've mentioned that they like to be so far. So like, for example, Tiny and I have had a conversation. So she's a creative and a strategist. CJ and I have had a conversation based on last week. And she is a creative and a moderator. Same with Zay, a creative and a moderator. And I picked these roles based on what we all decided to do for the Raw magazine so far. Even Sergio, who kind of took on the creative and engineer again, because, he's doing the website. So based on what everybody put out that they would like to do for the Raw magazine, is how I was kind of figure, which roles to start everyone into. Because when you choose that role, we're going to want you to try to contribute to it. And that's why we are going to have these weekly meetings to not only have, our normal tasks. So say for educator. And this is why I didn't put anybody in educator necessarily, because again, I want people to be contributing to these roles that they're joining. So don't overwhelm yourself. Fit somewhere where you are. We all are creatives because we are all contributing in a creative way. All have put out NFTs, but there's another side of that as well that everybody also is appealing to. So say for educator example, we're going to want you to write blogs if this is somewhere that you want to be. And, educational blogs, host educational spaces. Like I showed you guys before in that, in the educator section or the resources section, where we're going to have resources for businesses, resources for beginners. This is going to be something that the educators are going to really be focused on, right? Because again, each Glow team has their own folder, their own focus, and something that you want to be contributing to. Again, attending your weekly meetings and completing the weekly tasks. These are both second to our normal, the two main things that you can do for the week, because this is what's going to help us continue to move along and make sure we're reaching goals and building out in each of these sections. So during the weekly meetings, everybody in that Glow team will come together and think about what they feel like should be a big weekly task that everyone should be accomplishing throughout this next week. And if you complete that, then you'll get your next 10 build tokens. So that's something that, again, is very important when it comes to how we're going to be distributing it and just making it plain. So once you've filled that out, and last thing. So because we all have two, right? So this is back to an example. Say Tiny is a strategist. So we've seen Tiny is, have put those things in the brain. Something that strategists can do is make templates so that we have a lot of cohesiveness on social media as well. So she also made templates for like new NFTs and new blogs and different things like that, so that our educators or other people that are creating the content, they can just use this template now for social media and start to share, because that's not everybody's forte. So, say she makes a template, it would be 5 build each template. Some of this stuff, a lot of this stuff is each one. So again, that's why I tell you, put your own allocation request based on what you think, and how many that you, based on what you do. So again, say she made 2 templates. So she would made 2 templates for social media, and that's why she thinks she would get 10 here. And if there's any discrepancies, then I would DM everybody and kind of clarify before I actually drop it if there's any questions or concerns about it. But for the most part, I think we are all adults and understand how to use this. That's the point of it being decentralized. It's not about a dictatorship. It's you, doing your math, thinking what you're supposed to get, and us just double checking it. So here, that's where she would put, she's supposed to get 10 build tokens for making her templates, but say she also made a cool resin tray. So she has a new NFT, a new pattern. So she would come here to creatives where it says mint or use a pattern using the theme. So there she'd add another 15. So now she's up to 25 total that she's supposed to add. But what she has to do is make sure she's copied this, saved it to her own document, filled it out for creatives and for strategists. So she'll have to do one for creatives and for strategists. Now, if you want to put that all on the same document, because you can copy and paste it below, that that's not how we're going to do it. We're going to keep it separated so that you can have your strategist tracker on one and your creative strategist or creative tracker on another. And the reason that we're going to do this is, again, because this is something that we can all track. So for example, right here, you guys see back in the brain, it has weekly tracker submission. So this is where everybody can come and upload their tracker. Now, one thing that we're going to have, I don't know if I've added it just yet, but I should have. So each group is going to have their own weekly tracker. So say again for educators, right? This one will have their own weekly tracker submission. Okay, yeah, I didn't add it up here yet. But yes, so each group will have their own folder up here that says weekly tracker submission. And that way, everybody can come and see what everybody's doing. Like I said, all the educators can come and see everybody that's added and submitted for their governance token and supposed to have done what they're supposed to have done. Everybody can go into that folder and see what they've been doing as educators. Same thing with the strategists. And that's why I wanted to keep those separate. And that's why I kind of even wanted to have this conversation, because I know it may have sounded a little confusing at first with having them, two separate trackers, but there is a method to that madness. Again, even for moderators, right? Once you've filled in your tracker, there's going to be a folder here that says weekly tracker submission, and this is where you would add what you've done for the moderators. And again, this is how it's going to be very easy, very transparent for us to, number one, all be able to double check, all be able to look, all be able to see what everybody's doing, what everybody's receiving, as well as build on top of that. I want it to be very organized so that it can be easy to build on top of, because, we could scale any day. Any day we could connect with somebody on Twitter Spaces, and then our realm go from 100 to 100,000. So just having these kind of systems in place that make it easy to organize all of that has been my goal. But that's kind of all I had to say about that. I'd love to hear if anybody has any questions, thoughts, questions, concerns, ideas, anything. Let me get back over here to see if anybody's unmuted. I don't see anybody unmuting. So y'all don't have no questions, no concerns, no ideas. That all makes sense. It all sounds right.
I have a question.
Yes, Miss CJ.
Hello. My question is, just so I'm making sure that I understand. So the assignment that I had, or the assignment that we were given, the magazine last week, I can upload that content that I have for that in this Google Drives.
Yes.
On there.
Exactly. And
okay.
And that's why we have this Google Drive here as well. So looking back at the Google Drive, so here in the brain, we see we have a whole folder here for, as soon as it loads, but we have a whole folder here for the raw magazine. So like you said, any content you have, it will be going there in the raw magazine. And I know you wanted to be in charge of collecting the information for the people that you would like to see. So this is also why I wanted to make this kind of stuff really transparent, because now even you can now go into our resource folder and see, okay, who's been getting governance tokens, right? So we go into our, not resource folder. I meant to go into the governance token. But you can go and see who's, in certain groups, right? Because you can also group it like that. So you can see who are the creatives, who are the engineers, also who are the collectors, so that which people you want to look out for. And that's also why I added Discord name. So when you see the distribution, that's listed by Discord name, so that we can all look in Discord and know who these people are and what they've been doing. And again, you can kind of cross-reference it with the folders. If you see I've added somebody new that went and got 100 build tokens in the creative section, you can actually go look into the creative folder and see what did this person just do this week, and then see, oh well, let me go check out. They done added a bunch of patterns and a bunch of NFTs. Can actually backtrack that way, just kind of like the blockchain, how you can use that to backtrack things. Okay, here we go. Finally, my laptop's been loading forever. But yeah, so here under distribution, this is where, again, you can come and see all the people that have built tokens. These are the people that are officially a part of the community. I mean, and everybody is, because everybody's still talking. But these are the people that have put in that little extra to really support the ecosystem in different ways. And that's why we try to spotlight it in different ways. And that was also a question I was going to ask you guys on what you thought, if we should have like more general things that people can do with not officially being a part of a GLOW team, or if we would want them to officially onboard and become a part of a GLOW team and then kind of get a lot more of those general incentives. Otherwise, community members in the Discord that are just talking. The only way that really be able to earn any is by inviting others and attending events, which I thought was fair, because then if they take the extra step to join a GLOW team, then they'll get rewarded 50 build tokens and then get their whole list of other things that they could do. So, and then again, here CJ is where you could actually come and actually see the list. And I'm going to do it by week so that, again, it's very organized. I like to keep things very organized, as you guys can see. So here, again, you can see where people are getting their coins from, where people are kind of excelling, doing the most, and just get a list of people, not having to go and track down or remember, but actually getting a solid list of who's contributing and where they're contributing. So, did I answer that question for you though? Okay.
Yes, yes, you did. Thank you.
Perfect. For sure. Okay, and the last thing. So back to the Google Drive, and after we talk about this onboarding form, then we will roll into our Raw magazine, which is actually about to actually be a Raw website. I know we've all had some time to think about what we would like to see done within this next week, with our goal of having it actually launched within about a month. Now, of course, if that timeline doesn't add up, we can always adjust accordingly, but we have set it to be launching, what we said, a month from now. Man, my computer is going so slow. Launching it a month from now. So our Raw workshop will actually be the 25th, 26th, and 27th. So the goal would be to have it launched 1 month from now, March 20th, to really start to build up some hype before our Raw workshop, and then continue to build that out. Now, I know we're going to talk more about the website here in just a bit. So before we get to that, our last thing when it comes to our governance token is onboarding. So when people want to onboard, the first thing that they'll check, where they'll get access to our Google form, it's very simple Google document that I made that has 3 sections, which tell us of yourself and your interest with Raw. Then let me actually go back through our form, because this is something that we can all see. So under the brain, and this is, again, access to all of us. And this is off of what you're talking about, CJ, when it comes to looking into the people that are here. All of us are going to be, and again, not the leaders of the room, but just more like the OGs. These are our focus areas for now. So one thing that you can do to see the new people that are joining, especially when it comes to, say, surgery, if somebody joins the engineer group, you want to kind of look and see what they know and don't know and where they can kind of fit beforehand. This is how you'll be able to use that. And again, why it's going to be important for each group to set their weekly meeting, so that there's also a time, because that is going to be the second step. Attending one of those weekly meetings, getting a task and completing that task. And I didn't want to make it too easy because, again, as we're building out the raw realm, we want to set a certain standard that you're coming in to put in work, right? And make that continuous. So with that being said, I thought that would be a really great way. So here under our resources, you can click DAO resources again. Computer is going just entirely slow as molasses. But here you will see this onboarding form for the raw realm. Now, I did everybody has access to this form, so I'm going to ask everybody just not to alter it. If you do have any changes that you would like to make, at this point, most things will need to be put up as a proposal. So you can always, propose it. Right now, instead of using snapshot voting, we're going to just use the ideas chat. And if you have something that you would like to share it in the ideas, and we can all move accordingly, vote, maybe thumbs up, thumbs down, until we actually have a governance token. I mean, not a governance token, sorry, a snapshot voting tool where we would connect and vote accordingly. But so here you can see these are the questions and that you would be able to actually add and rearrange. That's why I asked everybody not to do that. But here's an idea for how you can see how happen. If you do have other questions that you think would be great to ask, again, drop it in the ideas chat. Everybody feel free to continue to share the ideas that way. But when we have new people, here what you do is actually click on responses. So when you click on responses, you see we have 3 so far, which is one from me, one from Tiny, and one from Austin.crypto. And it's really cool because you can see it in a few different ways. So you can see a summary, which would be each question and everybody's answer under that question, which makes it very easy. Obviously, it continues to stay in that same order from the beginning. You can also organize it by question, and it goes through each 11 questions. Or you can go through individual. Just look at that individual's form and actually select them. So you see this is mine and all of my answers. And you can continue to go through that. So, and to get to the next, you just see, you go up here, 1 out of 3. So you just slide over, shows you the next person would be Tiny and all of her answers separately. And the last would be Austin. So this is ask that everybody fills one out so that, again, we just have this information for the record, so that everybody, again, has full transparency on what everybody's missions are, what everybody's goals are, where everybody's with, and most importantly, these social medias, right? Because I asked for Twitter names, Instagram names, and any other platforms that people are familiar with, like Austin's on TikTok, which is great because that is such a great platform for us to start spreading our wings. So seeing things like that, again, can help all of us understand how people can come into the community and how we can really all build together. So everyone has access to that there, again, in resources, under resources in the brain. Again, I'm going to create another folder for each of the weekly submissions under each folder. And I'm also probably going to create a template to kind of outline, where these things are, like I just said, where you can find certain things for each of us, for each group. Because again, each group is, this is about self-governance, right? Because again, we're all our own independent organizations just coming together with a common mission. So I would like each GLOW team to kind of operate as the same as well. And that's why we even did it as fraternities, right? Because there's this fraternity, or this brotherhood, that brotherhood, this brotherhood, but we all come together to educate, network, and stick to the same mission. So that is all I have for that, for onboarding, submitting, for your governance tokens, and everything of that nature. So did anybody have any questions about that? Concerns, ideas, anything?
Well, I kind of do, but it was like more like a idea slash question. Like, is it possible for like the engineering to like the engineering process? By that I mean, like, what if like one engineer wants to create like a process and the other engineer, like someone doesn't want to? Is it possible to like use a governance token to like vote on the process, or like is it possible to use a governance token to like vote on the engineering lead, or
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, it's
Yeah,
just ideas.
that's exactly how that would work. So, say, like you said, say you have two engineers building out the website. I would say it wouldn't be more so of like lead. It would be more so on theme. So that's one thing that I've realized is really big on DAOs. It's like everybody may have a role, but we're all going toward the same theme. So where you want to find common ground is making sure that we're on the same page with what you want to do, and then deciding, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do to make that happen, and this is what you're going to do to make that happen. So, like you said, if there's a difference of opinion between engineers, then that is something where you would pose it like, this is what we would like to do. These are the options. What does everybody think is best? And then that's how we would move forward from there. And then from there, you guys would just figure out, okay, well, this is what everybody would like to do. So these are different roles on how everybody can make that happen.
Okay. I have another one, but it's kind of related. Well, I guess you already went over it, but using Snapshot, but is it possible for like community to go on a feature on a feature so that engineering could work on it?
You said for voting?
Yeah, like the community votes on what the engineering team builds on, like a feature. And then another one is is it possible for like the community to get feedback, or just feedback so the engineering could doesn't waste time on building like features that nobody uses, or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, and that's a good question too, John. And I think that's why on one of our last community calls, CJ and they have made a point that they want to have weekly meetings so that everybody can share their ideas, right? So like you said, maybe one engineer wants to, use this platform to build, and a few other engineers want to add a few other add-ons, right? And then everybody can kind of share those ideas, and that gives you a week to put it out to the group, to try it, and then come back together the next week to see what does work, what doesn't work, as well as maybe if you guys, like you said, had to propose a vote to the team on what software to use or what platforms to build on. Now you're coming back the next week, should have an answer from the community, and can now set out tasks accordingly from the outcome of that vote. So having those weekly meetings is going to be one of the key components to helping that, with just trying to come to terms with everybody on the team. And I think everybody is, pretty open-minded when it comes to working as a team. But when it comes to, anything where it's like, okay, we can do this or that, let's just pose it to a vote and tell everybody, the pros and cons for each, and see what they think is best. We have a governance token. We might as well use it, and say maybe it's not something everybody necessarily needs to vote on. You can still propose that vote, and then maybe make that your weekly task for the engineers. Like, all the engineers need a vote on this proposal so that everybody's input is counted accordingly. And that's just how, again, you can leverage that weekly meeting, weekly task, so that everybody knows, what we should be doing to help us get to that next step of getting it done.
Well, I have another kind of well, I would like to get feedback from our users, so we know it's are we building the right features, and more user experience, how they're using the features that we're building. I want to know, I don't want to be in a vacuum where we're just building features, but we don't know, is it working or is it not working, or
Yeah, and that's
I just want feedback on
I think something like that, we could even continue to build out more like Google Forms almost, where it's like a survey, and you can, put that out, and that could be a form from the engineers where it's like, give us some feedback on how this is working, what isn't working, what is working, and just getting different feedback from that. And again, and that's something that everybody would be able to fill out, the users, community members, other engineers, so that way you're getting insight from everybody. But I think that would be something that's really resourceful as well, like you said, for engineers as we're building, to keep putting out to the community to get that feedback, so that we're not wasting time and resources on things that people don't really care about or need. So we can definitely create another Google form. That was all of this stuff was pretty easy to create, and you don't need like Microsoft Office or anything like that. You just go to Google and you could put Google Forms, and that's how I made this Google onboarding form, or Google Sheets. That's how I make my Excel sheets. And again, it's all free. You connect your Gmail to it, and you have access to now start building out your own. So this is how I actually make all of those. So we can definitely make another one, like a feedback form, and put that in the resources, and then make that as like a task again that we ask everybody to do, and receive some build tokens once they complete it, and then help make, again, make sure we're not wasting time and resources on things, like you said, that users don't really care about, or aren't working, or is working. Just offering that feedback from the community in general to help keep the community engaged. And that's, again, another way we can have everybody that's not a part of these core teams interested and engaged, and still feeling like they're a part as well. So I think that's a good point. Okay, any other questions? I think I heard somebody else unmute at some point as well. Nope. Okay, well, no problems. I know that was quite a lot of information, but we covered a lot of great things when it comes to our brain, where everything is going to be, where we can find everything to continue to build, continue to add accordingly. And next, we need to talk about our actual raw magazine. Now, the first thing I was thinking is we need a better name for it, because it's obviously not a magazine anymore. So something like catchy, like the raw resources, or physical to digital resources, because we don't necessarily have to put raw there. But something, that we would like to actually name the website and start to call it, so that people understand it's a website for resources, physical to digital related. Tiny, I see you've unmuted.
Sorry, I had a question about before for the weekly tracker. How is that week running? Is it like Friday to Thursday, or like Sunday to?
Good question. So it's Sunday to Saturday. So
Okay.
I'm gonna do the distributions every Sunday. So I'm gonna ask everybody have theirs submitted every Saturday. So you have it in by Saturday, and then on Sunday I'll actually distribute everything. So your next week will start that Sunday and then ends that Saturday.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
No, good question. Appreciate that. And again, that's why I want to also make a lot of content to simplify all of these processes. But before I made a lot of that, again, it is a DAO. So I wanted to show you guys updates on what we've been doing, what we have so far, and just get feedback on what you guys are thinking. If it sounds too complicated, if there's anything that you think could make it easier, simpler, anything at all. I'm open-minded to it, and willing to try anything. This is our first DAO we're building together, so it's all going to be a learning experience for sure. But I try to, get bigger wins than bigger fails. And I know that's not something we can always control, but I think the more that we all, use our experiences and come together, then the better we'll be. So alrighty. So yes, now back to our raw magazine website resources. So everybody had a task last week to come today with a task that we would like to see completed. I know we've all been on Notion at this point. Oh, let me stop screen sharing because I don't need that anymore. So we all need, or we also got the link for Notion last week. I've downloaded it on my phone at this point. I need to look at it on my laptop, but I see that I can also do it from my phone, which I think is really helpful because most of us are on our phones majority of the time. So being able to have it there and look at it and see, what tasks are available, what tasks have been added is a really cool tool. It also looks a little intimidating at first, I think, for some. But again, the more we start to use it, the better it will become, especially because we're going to use it often, right? Each core team can have their own section and set out the weekly tasks. We can assign certain tasks to certain people for bigger tasks and just continue to follow up and see, again, who's supposed to be doing what and what's available to be done. I think that's also a very powerful tool. When people join DAOs, some of their questions are, what can I do to help? What can I do to start putting in work? What can I do to be a part? So by having these different resources, like this is where you start, this is how you get to work, and this is what you can do, outlined very easily that any of us can explain, makes a very powerful impact as well. So on that note, did anybody want to kick it off with their ideas for the Raw Realm or Raw Magazine? I feel like I've been rapping a lot at this point. But just to recap, I guess, with our magazine as well. So again, after our last conversation, we decided instead of having a magazine, which is a little old school, we're actually going to have our own website. So on this website, the goal is for it to be for resources. Our realm focuses on physical to digital, and it being about educating and networking. So on our website, we want to embody that and be able to use the resources that we're putting in the brain and put it onto this website so that people that are going physical to digital for their businesses, for their lives, for whatever they have in mind, they want to come to the Raw Realm to find those resources. So that's the idea here with our website that we're now building. We've all kind of taken different roles in that. Some of the things that we're also going to have when it comes to our Raw website is also unlockables. We are in the NFT space. We're in this Web3 space. So we're going to use this technology to our advantage to be the new websites, right? To be doing these websites better than they're doing. And that comes with having different unlockables, different bundles, different things that we can do, even having like gamifying things. I know Sergio had mentioned before having different analytics to award people, based on how far they go within different sections of the website, and just adding so many different tools to make this website more than a website, and it really being focused on educating and people coming and getting educated on how they can actually start revolutionizing their lives and seeing that it's revolutionizing. So with that being said, Tiny is kind of going to be leading us in creating the unlockables and like the templates. So when we say unlockables, that's something like, say we said we want to have the website rolling on March 20th. That's going to be preparing us for our big workshop that is the following weekend. So one of the ideas they had mentioned was like a comic section where we can have different designers submit, comics using different digimodels or different NFTs or, any kind of comic section. But that would be an unlockable that people can get from the website. And that would be, more like a downloadable PDF or a pamphlet or, or even just a extra section. I know Tiny had mentioned as well, like having password protected sections or just unlocking now in different sections within the website as well. It doesn't even have to be something downloadable, but having different sections like that are now unlockable. So she's going to be focused on creating that unlockable content. And again, these are just focused areas, but again, we have a whole team now, a whole governance token. So everybody can put out tasks that you see you need in your area so that everybody can come and contribute accordingly. CJ put herself in charge or is going to be leading collecting info for the people that we're going to be featuring. One thing that I need to do with our Git book is actually uploading all of the information for everybody that's been onboarded. Now, this is something I'm waiting to do until all of us complete the onboarding form, because that's where I'm going to be getting that information from. So as people onboard to the raw DAO, they're going to be added to the Git book, a part of that community. And show their social media, show about them, show just whatever that they share on that Google form is what I'm going to use to add to our Google Doc there, or our Git book, I'm sorry. So from there, we're also going to use that information to feature it on our website. We were thinking when it was a magazine, it was going to be like yearbook style, because there again, you can show like, oh, these are all the people that's onboarded. These are all the people that's collected. These are all the creatives, all the engineers, all the moderators, all the strategists. So we can still have that, because we already, when you go on websites, they have whole sections for that, about us, about the people. Again, somewhere where we can spotlight all the people that are adding to it, spotlighting, oh, this is what's happening new in this section, and this is what the engineers are doing, and this is what the strategists are doing, and different things like that. So that is what Miss CJ is going to be focusing on. Zay is also going to be focusing on collecting information for the website, such as articles. Like I said, she's been really on as soon as somebody drops the article, she's adding it to the brain so that it makes it easier when we're putting it onto the website, it's already there. So she's going to keep collecting information as we go. Sergio is going to be programming that website and data analytics, such as like live updates and anything of that nature. And I'm going to be in charge of actually writing a lot of the content. Again, you guys know I really like simplifying information. And sometimes I feel like it's almost oversimplified because this space gets so deep. But there is so, like I just said, it gets so deep. So I just like giving people a starting point on, hey, this is where you start, and then you can go from there. And I feel like having a website as well is going to be great, because now we have somewhere where we can continue to build on that. Like, this is step one, then this is how you can continue to go further. And of course, it's all about doing your own research as well. But at least this gives us a place to continue to build out, and for everybody to write content. Because I even seen Austin had mentioned he would like to write a lot of the content as well. So that's kind of what I'll be leading, and that's all I have so far for our updates. So does anybody, CJ, Sergio, Tiny, want to kick off any ideas that they may have had this week in accordance to their role and the website or anything of that nature?
Well, like, I was like just planning to like work on like the landing page, and then I guess the about page, and then how to join the DAO, and if I have time, maybe the unlockable, because I don't want to like, there's like more like a MVP kind of thing, like, like just launch it on the website instead of like, how you could sometimes like have like this big idea, but like sometimes it's like too big and you don't have like enough time to launch it. So these are like 4 tasks I plan to work on: landing page, which is like the splash, the splash thing, and then the about page, and then how to join the DAO, and then maybe unlockable. I don't want to like like all the promise and under 1 month. What is it, like 1 month?
Yeah, 1 month away. So yeah, that would be a really good start too, because like we just said, the raw workshop will be following that, and that will be a place where we can just put it out there, and show people this is where we're going to continue to be building out this information. So just having that landing page ready, telling them about it, how to join it, and anything like that. I know T is also into engineering and programming as well, so maybe we can get her on board to help with that as well. And like you said, maybe if that's what you're focusing on, maybe her and Tiny can even team up to program the unlockable, so that we can have a comic, and that be something that we actually make as our first example to say, hey, this is what we have together, and different things like that, if that's possible. by having, again, more people on the team. So
Okay.
awesome. Thank you, Sergio, for that update. So, okay, so that's awesome. So, our website, we should be looking at, again, a landing page, about, and how to join. That's a really great start. So, Sergio, what would you say then would be a task for that you would like to complete this week? Or, like, say again, say any engineers that onboard this week, what is one task that can be completed to help stay on track for that?
Uh, for instance, like the design, like how would you want the landing page to look like, and then like first that like we need to like figure out like how do we want it to look like, and then probably like the menu tab, and then break that to like small, like break it down to like small components, and then like what kind of resource do we want? Do we want like the social media stuff, or like I don't feels like I will like probably design, like I'm not a designer, but like probably should go finish that first.
Yeah, no, and that's a good task, and that's what we're going to do it week by week and make it achievable. Just focusing on what we can do to get started, where to focus, and once you get that done, then you can go to the next step. So I think, like you said, planning the design and determining what kind of website we would all like to see this as is a really great start to get figured out this week, so that then the following week you can even start executing on that. And it doesn't even have to take a whole week. Say you just give yourself until maybe like Wednesday, or put it out there. And one of the things that I've really done, especially with as we're just starting the DAO, because sometimes you get a lot of feedback, sometimes you don't, it's putting out the options, like you said, this is the designs that are possible, and this is what I'm thinking. What do you guys think? Does anybody have any other ideas? So that way, if you don't get any, too much feedback from it, then you can kind of go with what you think is best in that sense, since you're leading that area. So I think that would be a great thing to put out there and start. So thanks. Sorry, Tiny and CJ, I seen you guys have both unmuted as well. So who'd like to go next? Tiny,
I guess
already.
I can go. I just have a question because I think I just like kind of switched to unlockables from because I was gonna what I don't remember what I was doing before, like the cohesiveness or something.
Oh
Some
yeah,
shit. Well,
it's
that
just
was
the
it.
same thing of like the theme, the appearance. But now that I mean, coding too. So, if you would like to team up with Sergio, on some front end appearance type of thing, or just offer ideas again with how this appearance will look, that will be great. But also